previous exercises and introduce you to something we have been doing in the Department of Journalism connected with environmental journalism, which is something that is going to become more and more important. And it's kind of not being done very deeply here, because, or anywhere, because it's just one of many, many subjects. And newspapers, other media, not that interested in it unless it's a big story. So we're kind of falling behind. I want to show you our little environmental journalism link on the webpage, on the journalism webpage. That's our department webpage. And Otto helped us set up this very nice environmental journalism page, and you can see here we've got some information about our sponsorship, which comes from the Century Club, which is an organisation of graduates of HKBU, and they've been kind enough to supply us for the last 2 years, and last year and the current year, with some support for exchange students to go to one of several universities that are joined in a worldwide group of universities that are dealing with environmental journalism. And the person who won that award for last semester was Gloria Lu, who's from broadcast journalism, same year as you, year 2. And you can see Gloria here in London. She went to City U, looking very glamorous in front of Tower Bridge. And she has added some links to the website, and you can have a look at them. You'll show them later, right? And she's also been to environmental journalism classes at City U with some quite famous teachers. So, without further ado, I would like to introduce you to Gloria. Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon everyone, and today I come here to share with us my experiences with environmental journalism in City University. And thanks to the Century Club, I have this chance to get into the environmental journalism. And I'm Gloria Lu, same year with you, and maybe someone knows me already. I'm from broadcast journalism. And firstly, I would like to briefly talk about environmental journalism in UK and in City University. Firstly, I would like to share my feeling about the industry in UK. I think compared with the Chinese newspaper in Hong Kong, there are more specialism in different areas. We could see from the captures that there are many different parts of the online version, like culture, lifestyle, and travel, education. And when we compare with the Chinese papers in Hong Kong, we mainly have the daily news, entertainment, and sports and financial, but they have much more than that. And then let me talk about City University London. It's a great school located in the Zone 1 of London, just next to the King's Cross station. And in the Department of Journalism, which is within the arts school, it have 2 diploma in journalism. And one is ordinary journalism BA, and the other one is journalism and the social science BA. I think this one is special because it is one of the UK's best established degree, has been taught since 1991, and it provides an opportunity to learn journalism as well as one of sociology, psychology, or economics. So you can see that they are prepared for their career when they are in the undergraduate. And also the specialism course is really interesting because it's not just one course. Actually, there are 18 different courses in last semester for this specialism journalism. And there are some common ones like arts and culture, environment, entertainment, finance, policy, health and science, sports, but there are also some really interesting ones. Actually, it's a pity that I haven't really get an idea about what they are talking about, but the topic is really interesting, like topic like conflict specialism, home affairs specialism, and world-face specialism, and security and organized crimes specialism. And it is also very special because it's a course for MA and undergraduates, so that you would meet some MA students there. And it's really a time that you could be inspired by someone. Especially the MA students, they're really passionate. And here, let's talk about the environmental journalism in UK. And as I've already said, there are many papers have this specialism. We could see from the capture, most of the mainstream media have the specialism in environment, like the Guardian, BBC, the Independent, and the Times. They all have that ones. And also, there are many MA courses offered by university like City University, University of Lincoln, and University of Durham. They all have specialism courses in environment or nature and science. And also there are many online courses offered with or without diploma. And there are many different awards for environmental journalism. And here is one organized by the Press and the Independent, Observer, and BBC Online. And you could tell from this list that The Guardian is really doing a good job in environmental journalism, and I would like to talk about The Guardian later. Environmental specialist journalist in UK, and can see they're from different environmental journalism in city, and it's mainly about the course content. And I will introduce our lecturer, Bibi, and also talk about also cover activism and campaigning, and also science approach, and introducing The Guardian, the media. And firstly, I would like to say that Bibi is really an energetic and lovely lady, and she's been working with The Guardian for a long time, and she writes stories and columns in environment and food. And she's came up with 2 books. Rebel Rebel is a campaign Bible that tells you how to run a campaign and do protest. And I think Bibi is really interested in doing campaign because we was given a big project that last semester to do an environmental campaign by ourselves. And the Summer Living one is about talking about the different events that you could do in UK and Europe during the summer. And the course content, the first part is about covering campaign organizations. And here we have guest speaker whose name is Ben Baxter. He's the press officer of Greenpeace. And firstly, he told us before we actually go to get an interview with the organization, we need to understand there are different types of organization or different levels. The first level is the grassroots group that just some people get in response into a Facebook message or get a meeting. And the second level is voluntary organizations with a formal structure. But these campaigns with no paid staff, only local campaigns depends on community goodwill. And the third level is small core of paid staff have raised enough money to be paying 1 or 2 members of staff. And the fourth level is established organization with fair, well-established revenue stream. And the fifth level is establishment organization, income, influence, and lobby present. And there is another type of organization that's government agency, sometimes also run government information campaigns. And also, we are told about some questions that we have to ask when doing interviews with campaign organizations. Firstly, you have to understand who they are. Try to get an idea about their membership, their rules, and then we need to ask, where is money come from? And it's really important to know who is funding them and whether they are a small grassroots group or large NGO. And also, we need to ask how they are organized. How are they running on a regular basis, or do they have meetings, or just organized by the Facebook? And also, we need to ask how did they get started? It's obviously that less important for big organizations, but for those newly established or some small group, it is really important to get as much as you can to understand their background. And then we need to ask what do they want, what are their needs and aims, and don't dismiss a group. because their aims are a little bit foggy. They may still be genius at getting the general theme into the media. And also, finally, we have to ask how do they plan to go about achieving their aims? What's their strategies and what kind of campaign they would going to run? And BB helped us organize an organization visit to the East London Green Job Alliance. And this one is really a newly established small group. It only have one paid staff, that is the founder of this organization, Hannah Thomas. And actually, I've got a chance to do a personal interview with her, because I'm doing another portfolio writing course. And it's really interesting that she firstly came up after graduation as an actress, but generally she finds that it's really interested her about the green issues, so that she moves into different NGOs. And after going to a US trip, she comes up with the idea to do this alliance. And this she organized several different NGOs in Tower Hamlets, Hackney, Greenwich, and so on, so far some local NGOs. And this alliance is mainly aimed at providing green job opportunities for those who are employed in East London. Because actually in East London there are many minority groups, and it's kind of difficult for their children, the youngsters, to get into the society and get a job. So that this organization actually have a pioneer project. The first project they are launching is offering training classes for the youngsters employed around 18 to do some green jobs and offer some internship. And she's also cooperating with some green job offering companies, so that they could offer some internship to these youngsters and finally give them a job opportunity. And I think this is really a brilliant idea, because it is both good for the environment and also for the local community. And next part, I would like to talk about the science approach. I know it is kind of difficult for journalists to do the environmental reporting, because some of us are coming from an art background, so it's difficult to get investments and research into the science report or some organization reports. But if we ourselves cannot understand the content, we could not really write a piece on it. And on the other side, it is also a hard task for us to transform the information we've got into a piece for the general public, because we know that really a few readers may have enough background knowledge in this area, and most of them won't spend time to do research into a report. Therefore, we must be aware of these barriers and work hard to overcome them. BB introduced a good book that's called Bad Science by Ben Godker. It is useful, showing us how the journalists fail to make good enough news piece. And BB also stressed that there are two things we must do. The first one is that we must, when we got a science report or a research report, we need to ask where is the money come from for the study, because there are many studies actually supported by related industry. So you know that the result may not be true. And also that we need to questioning whether the research procedure is logical enough, or does it really make sense. So here comes a video by the book writer, and shows, maybe it would give us some feeling about how journalists fail to do a good news. And it's kind of interesting.
So, I'm a doctor, but I kind of slipped sideways into research, and now I'm a editing artist. And nobody really knows what epidemiology is. Epidemiology is the science of how we know in the real world if something is good for you or bad for you. And it's best understood, through example, as the science of those crazy, wacky newspaper headlines. And these are just some of the examples. These are from the Daily Mail. Every country in the world has a newspaper like this. It has this kind of bizarre ongoing philosophical project of dividing all the inanimate objects in the world, really, into the ones that either cause or prevent cancer. So here are some of the things they've said. Cause cancer recently, divorce, Wi-Fi, toiletries and coffee. Here are some of the things they say. Prevent cancer, crust, red pepper, licorice and coffee. So already you can see there are contradictions here. Coffee both causes and prevents cancer. And as you start to read on, you can see that maybe there's some kind of political valence behind some of this. So for women, housework prevents breast cancer, but for men, shopping could make you impotent. So we know that we need to start unpicking the science behind this. And what I hope to show is that unpicking dodgy claims, unpicking the evidence behind dodgy claims, isn't a kind of nasty carping activity. It's socially useful, but it's also a kind of an extremely valuable explanatory tool, because real science is all about critically appraising the evidence for somebody else's position. That's what happens in academic journals, that's what happens at academic conferences. The Q&A session after a postdoc presents data is often a bloodbath, and nobody minds that. We actively welcome it. It's like a kind of consenting intellectual S&M activity. So, what I'm going to show you is all of the main themes, all of the main features of my discipline, evidence-based medicine, and I will talk you through all of these and demonstrate how they work, exclusively using examples of people getting stuff wrong. So, we'll start with the absolute weakest form of evidence known to man, and that is authority. In science, we don't care how many letters you have after your name. In science, we want to know what your reasons are for believing something. How do you know that something is good for us or bad for us? But we're also unimpressed by authority because it's so easy to contrive. This is somebody called Dr. Gillian McKeith, PhD, or to give her full medical title, Gillian McKeith. Again, every country has somebody like this. She is our TV diet guru. She has massive kind of 5 series of primetime television giving out very lavish and exotic health advice. She, it turns out, has a non-accredited correspondence course, PhD, from somewhere in America. She also boasts that she's a certified professional member of the American Association of Nutritional Consultants, which sounds very glamorous and exciting. You get a certificate and everything. This one belongs to my dead cat, Hetty. She's a horrible cat. You just go to the website, fill out the form, give them $60 and it arrives in the post. Now that's not the only reason that we think this person is an idiot. She also goes on and says things like you should eat lots of dark green leaves because they contain lots of chlorophyll and that will really oxygenate your blood. And anybody who's done school biology remembers that chlorophyll in chloroplasts only makes oxygen in sunlight and it's quite dark in your bowels after you've eaten spinach. Next, we need proper science, proper evidence. So, red wine can help prevent breast cancer. This is a headline from the Daily Telegraph in the UK. A glass of red wine a day could help prevent breast cancer. So you go and find this paper, and what you find is, it is a real piece of science. It's a description of the changes in the behaviour of one enzyme when you drip a chemical extracted from some red grape skin onto some cancer cells in a dish on a bench in a laboratory somewhere. And that's a really useful thing to describe in a scientific paper. But on the question of your own personal risk of getting breast cancer if you drink red wine, it tells you absolutely bugger all, okay? Actually, it turns out that your risk of breast cancer actually increases slightly with every amount of alcohol that you drink. So, what we want is studies in real human people. And here's another example. This is from Britain's leading diet nutritionist in the Daily Mirror, which is our second biggest selling newspaper. An Australian study in 2001 found that olive oil in combination with fruits, vegetables and pulses offers measurable protection against skin wrinkling. So then they give the advice, if you eat olive oil and vegetables, you'll have fewer skin wrinkles. And they very helpfully tell you how to find the paper. So you go and find the paper, and what you find is an observational study, right? Obviously nobody has ever been able to go back to like 1930, get all of the people born in one maternity unit, and half of them eat lots of fruit and veg and olive oil, and then half of them eat McDonald's, and then we see how many wrinkles you've got later. You have to take a snapshot of how people are now. And what you find is, of course, people who eat fruit and veg and olive oil have fewer skin wrinkles. But that's because people who eat fruit and veg and olive oil, they're freaks, okay? They're not normal. They're like you. They come to events like this, right? They are posh, they're wealthy, they're less likely to have outdoor jobs, they're less likely to do manual labour, they have better social support, they're less likely to smoke. So for a whole host of fascinating, interlocking social, political and cultural reasons, they are less likely to have skin wrinkles. That doesn't mean that it's the vegetables or the olive oil.
So it's quite a long video, and you could find this video on the blog. Later I will show you. And just show this to grab an idea that we may fail to do a good piece of news just because those reasons. And here comes a little test. Does anyone know these abbreviations? What's this for? Does anyone know any of this? Yes. Which one? Yeah, GHG. And any others?
United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change.
Yes. Yeah. Nothing else? And the CCS is carbon capture and storage. And the CDM is clean development mechanism. And G per km is the emission standard. And next, I would like to talk about the media, The Guardian. Alan Wong is the editor in the environmental guardian.co.uk. And he has been in this position for 3 years, and he gave us a sharing about how does he do his work. And The Guardian is one of the leading publications in UK when considering about the environmental reporting. And Adam Wong is the environmental website editor. And he shared with us about The Guardian, and he said The Guardian has a relevant, mature system for the environmental area. They will have many specialist journalism or editors, and they are specifically specialists in things like climate change, water recycling, so on and so forth. And also, one of their big competitive strengths is that they have many foreign correspondents in major cities like Beijing and Washington. So I find this also that they have many environmental news covered in China. So if you are doing some kind of homework about environment news in China, you can go to The Guardian. They have many of them. And yes, and he also said that because it is an online version, there are many new technology and methods to present, and it is kind of challenging because rather than the original traditional method, they need to take the photo and video, and it's kind of a burden for the correspondents. They need to carry their own cameras, travel along, and take the video. And also they need to take care of their Twitter and Facebook in order to get people interested in it. And also, as for the working procedure, Adam said that most of the environment concern news is not breaking news, so that up to 70 to 80% of their article are planned ahead in editorial meeting. And he also said it happens sometimes that their report will cross over with the ones in other departments, especially for the political ones. So if there is the case, they'd like to discuss and negotiate about it. And then talk about the readership, because we generally think that people read the environmental news have a science background or they're well educated, but actually they don't really got readership concerning about, they don't get the data for the readership concerning about their occupation or education background. But one thing that is really interesting that they could tell the foreign desk is significant because 50% of their viewers actually from the US, not the UK. And 30% from UK and 20% from other countries around the world. Since online news is such an international competitive industry, and most of the time they come up with story about big picture stuff to better target their audience. And as I've already said before, that BB gave us a big project this semester, which is came up with an environment campaign. And I think this is really a good experience for me because I do this with other three guys. One is called Simon. He's law graduate in City University London, and now he's doing the MA course in journalism. And he's actually the one came up with the idea for our campaign, and because it's kind of related with the law, with law background, and he's really knowledgeable, and he actually gets a chance to interview with Polly Hagan, who will introduce later, and also Claire, who is also an MA student, and she's really active and read a lot of books and do a lot of interviews with different people. Really passionate. I really appreciate these two people. And another one is Hannah, who is also an exchange student from Australia. Yeah. And so the campaign topic we chose is about ecocide. Does anyone know what ecocide means? Have you ever heard about this word? No. Maybe I will talk about it later. And so ecocide actually is about causing a big damage to the environment. Is an extremely extensive destruction, damage, or loss of ecosystem of a given territory, and whether by human agency or other causes, to such an extent that peaceful enjoyment by the inhabitants of that territory has been served diminished, and the ecosystem so destroyed and damaged would normally be large. And I also want to introduce you Polly Hagan, who is an environmental lawyer, and not just only have environmental journalism, we also have environmental lawyer. And she grew up near Loch Lomond on the west coast of Scotland, and he spent several years inside London courts representing individuals and corporations on discrimination cases, brought her to the conclusion that the planet was also being treated unfairly, and in particular by damaging corporate activity. Here's a quote from her: "Corporations are the ones gambling our planet away, and our governments are running the casino." So she proposed that to establish ecocide as the fifth crime of peace to the UN. So here comes another test. Does anyone know the other four crime of peace in the UN? Something concerned about. One is war crimes. Can you think of other three? It's crime of peace. The other three is genocide, crime against humanity, and crimes of aggression. Yes. So she proposed that ecocide should be the fifth one because it's also damaged the peaceful world. And here we have and also Polly Hagan just we chose this campaign because actually Polly herself is doing campaign to promote this idea so that she could get this passed by the UN. And she just organized mock trial in the Superior Court in London, and just in September last year. So here is a video. We'll give you more information about Polly Hagan and ecocide. A little bit, but I think this one is good because it introduced Polly Hagan and explain what ecocide is and show us the mock trial. And I think we've learned from Bonnie about some law knowledge, and it's useful.
Most countries, the environment has no legal rights. Corporate CEOs and state are not bound by law personally to look after the earth and clean up any mess they make. Environmental lawyer Polly Higgins is trying to change that. In April 2010, she proposed to the UN that ecocide, the environmental equivalent of genocide, becomes the 5th international crime against peace. And today she's organised a mock trial at the Supreme Court in London, as if that law has already been ratified. When was the kind of the moment, the light switching on for you, that you decided that this was going to be your path, that you wanted to push this forward?
At the moment, as a lawyer, as a barrister, I just don't have the tools of my trade to do this. Today what we're seeing here is for the first time barristers have these tools to use in court, and that's hugely important.
So this is not a case of just corporate bashing?
No, not at all. This is really a legislation that's about putting in place a law that creates a kind of think before you act mechanism.
It may be a mock trial, but the cases are based on real events and nothing is scripted. Eminent human rights barrister Michael Mansfield will lead the prosecution against the chief executives of 2 fictional energy companies, while a real jury must ultimately decide if the alleged crimes constitute ecocide and if the CEOs are to blame. Today, the trial concerns the ongoing ecological damage caused by surface mining at the Athabasca tar sands in Canada, and the massive oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico, which flowed for 4 months in 2010.
There are some crimes that are regarded as so serious by the international community that they've been made international crimes. Companies cannot be given a license to spill and kill, provided they clear up the mess. That's what this is about. Strict liability and accountability.
It's amazing, you could really feel the gravitas in the case. At one point, the jury were actually dismissed for a few minutes. Can you explain what was happening there?
There was a legal issue that was raised by the defence, the interpretation of the Ecocide Act that's been drafted. Now, that was dismissed by the judge. It was an interpretation of what constitutes a superior responsibility.
Superior responsibility is the principal doctrine of Polly's proposed act, which would hold the heads of corporations personally accountable for any environmental damage committed by their company.
Well, it's really interesting seeing this being put into effect. It's a really good idea to do a mock trial, to have 2 people sitting there who will, if this act is ever brought into force, be the individuals who are sitting there responsible and answering for the crimes that they've alleged to have committed. Ultimately, ecocide is a crime, and crimes are committed by individuals, not companies.
Back in the court, the defence turned up the heat on a prosecution witness.
Till a day or 2 ago, your knowledge of tar sand extraction was virtually non-existent. Let's trick purchase. Can you help us?
No, I can't help it.
I really don't know. This could be acquittals, it could be convictions. I have no real strong sense.
After an hour of speculation outside the court, we called back in to hear the final verdict.
Gentlemen, please stand. Do you find Mr. Bannerman guilty or not guilty of count 2?
Guilty.
Do you find Mrs. Tent guilty or not guilty of count 3?
Guilty.
What number convicted and what number acquitted?
The decision was unanimous.
That was amazing. You weren't sure. You weren't sure which way.
It's about ensuring that we all understand the principles. And I think even Polly will say she's got to go back to the Act, as we all have, tighten it up and make sure that...
I think the quote from Polly is really good in the last.
I don't actually want to see lots of CEOs in the dock. I'm not anti-profit, not at all. But I am anti-profit that's coming out of vast damage and destruction, the likes of which is being examined today. Hopefully this is the beginning of the end.
So you may grab an idea about what ecocide is and what Polly Hagen is promoting. And so here comes our presentation. We only get maybe 3 or 4 weeks to prepare this campaign, and actually it's a monk campaign because we don't actually have the money, but we need to think about what we will do for the campaign. This one is exactly the same PPT we've shown in the last course of the environmental specialism, and it's about ecocide. And here is the introduction part about Polly Hagen and the definition of ecocide. And here comes our principles of ecocide. We come up with several principles of ecocide because we think we need to make ordinary people think it is really a big issue. We need to take care of it and to make it pass by the UN because it is important to us, to ourselves. And we come up with several principles. The first one is the law of ecocide will stop damaging and destructing activities. And the pictures are the cases like Deepwater Horizon and Fukushima nuclear disaster. And the second principle we think is that ecocide is not a crime of intent. We've told by Bonnie that actually a crime have the action and also the crime of intent. But we think that under the law of ecocide, you are accountable with or without the intention to do damage because the damage is there and it's ruined the ecocide and damage the inhabitat for so many people and creatures living in the world. And also we think that ecocide is the tool to enforce restorative justice. And we also think that ecocide creates a preemptive obligation. And finally, we think that ecocide creates responsibility at international and national level because many of the big issues of ecocide actually does not just does that deep damage to the nation itself, but it brings damage to the surrounding nations or the whole planet. So that we think it should begin as an international law and then will be transferred into a national duty of care in order for ecocide to stand into a level that the whole international will accept it. And also we think that as Polly has already mentioned that we need to really put someone into the punishment or into the jail because crime is done by human individuals, not a company. And paying some fees does not actually mean so much, but actually we need to give some real punishment to those who make the decision, like the CEOs or the top managements. And also, we think we should choose a target for our campaign, and we choose our target as the youngsters, especially the university students. And we have different target groups. Firstly is the law school students, because this one is actually promoting this one as international law, so it's concerned about the law school students. And actually, there are approximately 97 law schools across Ireland and the UK. And we think that maybe we could introduce the mock trial into those law schools and to promote the idea and to make more law schools to interested in the case, and maybe they will turn out to be an environment lawyers and promoting this idea in the professional area. And also, we think we should target the journalism students because the journalism is those who have the power to promote or spread an idea. And also, we come up with several approach to get access to the ordinary everyday students, and such like come up with some videos and build up a Twitter, a Facebook, and also organized several discussions. And also we think that we should get along with the university publications, like our school has BNN Samboyang and TYR. City University has City Inquirer, and so that we could get some reports on the newspaper in the school and circulate it and promote the idea among the university students. And we also think that since ecocide feels a little bit far away from ordinary people, and it is actually a complex and dry matter, so we think we get the inspiration from mock trial, and we think that we could come up with some comedies to promote the idea. And actually Claire did this part, and she said that she really knew someone that's doing the comedies, and she could get into the comedies network and find someone to play a comedy for us. And also during the discussion, our own discussion, that we think we could come up with some ecocide tourism, like bring you to the Mexico, where you could see how the habitat, the ecosite is damaged, and bring you to the actual site so that you could get a feel about how the damage is. And we think it's really a good idea. But maybe there's some people don't want us to go there, and it's kind of dangerous because maybe the site is really dangerous with different kind of situations. And also Claire also come up with the idea of yes man. And I don't know yes man, maybe you also haven't heard about it. What? Yes man is just the man, he pretend himself as the top management of some big corporations, and come into, actually according to Claire, she said actually the man really got to BBC, and on the show she present he himself as a top management of an organization and apologize for the thing the organization have done. And yeah, that's really crazy and funny. And also here, have you ever seen the BP oil spill comedy? That is really popular during that days, and it has 12 million hits in 1 year. And this one is really, really interesting. It's about the BP oil spill.
Don't worry about it. It's a small spill on a very large table.
Sir, I think we're underestimating just how much coffee was spilled.
Yeah, that's a lot of coffee.
Well, we better hurry up because it's almost reached my laptop.
It's also going to destroy all the fish.
Oh boy. Okay. Boom. Look at that.
My God, it's encroaching on my map of Louisiana.
Okay. Okay. Oh no.
The laptop. Map.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Fish.
Oh no.
The laptop.
Wait. I've got a brilliant idea.
Oh. Okay. Jones, you gotta hurry up. I think the public is getting suspicious.
All set.
Damn. Didn't work.
Oh my God, we are really screwed now.
Look, garbage will fall into the coffee cups, stopping further spillage.
Now there's just coffee and garbage.
Wait, I've got an idea. Damn, I really thought that would work.
Well, maybe it doesn't work right away. Let's observe it for 3 hours and then reassess it.
Okay.
God. The gentleman from Halliburton here?
Send him in.
Gentlemen, oh my God.
You guys are partly responsible for this. You provided these styrofoam cups knowing they were unstable.
Oh, no. Don't put this on us. You know what? Halliburton doesn't have to listen to this. We are out of here.
I've got Kevin Costner on the phone. He'll know what to do for sure.
How big is the smell?
Pretty major, Mr. Costner.
Do you have a golf ball?
I have a ping pong ball.
Good. Now throw it at the smell. What happened?
Nothing.
You guys are fucked.
So this one is really popular, and you can get the idea about how use the comedy to promote ecocide. And we are just thinking about doing the same things to grab the attention and make people understand. And also there are some observations from Claire, actually. And ecocide has 3,000 likers on its Facebook page, but only 412 followers on Twitter and around 200 viewers of recent video. And the mock trial budget is this and raised by crowdsourcing. And we come some strategy for this, that Facebook, we should improve some link page on Facebook because there are much more followers on Facebook than on Twitter. And also we think that we could put some video and to other platforms such as Green TV. And also we could organize some student comedy nights to promote ecocide. And also we could get some stand-ups into music festivals and young festivals so that we could get an approach to the youngsters. And yeah, and I would also like to talk about some other people's campaign on the class, and they come up with some ideas about